This was one of the first ones we wrote when I got to LA. Peter played me the beat and I started singing. I had butterflies. That morning I'd had a real brain-bending trip in Nick's garden, and I kept singing this line at the end of each section that went, "You'll only wanna catch your..." And eventually, one of those times, Nick just shouted out, "Breath!" And that made sense, so that's how this song happened.
Catch your breath is that feeling of seeing a thing of absolute beauty, whether it's a girl or a guy or a plant, an animal, sunset. Being brought into that heightened reality, for the most part our everyday lives are fairly menial. So those moments when we do lose our breath are really something to hold on to. For the song, my friend Alister and I co-wrote with Tim LaFave. Initially, we were trying to evoke a half-imagined scene in a krautrock happening sometime in the late 60s. Listening to a lot of that sound, bands like Can and Noi, fusing that with Vlossom's own floral vibrancy and touching everything, there is something like a phenomenon in Alister's voice, and it can at one moment channel a deep welling up and sadness, and at another, an ecstatic magic, limitlessly laden with bliss.
My Friend was written before we were called Vlossom. At this point, I was feeling blown away by Nick having written a whole album of instrumentals for me to sing over. There was a massive bowl of weed in the kitchen, probably the most I'd ever seen in one place. It was in a salad bowl. When I first heard this song, it reminded me of the city. It has the fast-paced energy of walking down the street with somewhere to go. In the band, we call it city style. We wrote this in LA at Peter's studio. Those times are some of the best times I've ever had writing music. I don't even know what happened. Peter's rocking it in the hot seat, and sometimes Nick gets me to yell shit, or he might pass me a bit of paper from the couch. This one said, "Girl, I've been missing you," which was nice because, as it happens, I was missing someone.
Missing You was the last song we wrote for the EP. Alister's vocals have a strange power to them on this one. It stays with you. Let it linger in your room on the dashboard. It comes to wish you well. It's a journey in itself. Gotta Prepare for This is a song that deals with a pending isolation and savage anxiety that comes across all of us. Over the course of the EP, we've tried to sow a seam of silver lining to bring the listener out of whatever misery and difficulties they're facing and deliver them to a place of peace.
Like most of the songs, I had no context. Nick had the instrumental ready and just put me in a room with headphones on and a mic. This one sounded slower and heavier than the others, so I used one of my big characters and let it out. I was looking out the window at the tall buildings, thinking about how we really need to work together, or everything's gonna be fucked.
In your hand, you gotta be there for this one. Lately I've been wondering, how did you get so tall?
We started Tabs on the first day in Bondi. Sometimes I think I'm like a computer. I put all this stuff in, songs, experiences, friends. Then when I get on the mic and start following the music, it all comes back out again. So I only have control over the input, and from there I'm just following the song. So the input for Tabs was an excellent summer. I had some incredible new experiences with friends, and they were just pouring out.
Tabs is about the human relationship with time and the ticking of clocks, consciousness, constantly ticking in time. Ride this song like a rocket ship into a kaleidoscopic world. Take this journey from star to asteroid and beyond. Come try the friendly skies. You're all invited.
Making worlds in rapture. We are all true masters. We are all long casters. We are all the golden ones. We feel more than anyone. Was I there? Was I there? Was I really there? Yeah.
Triplets is like walking on thin ice. Like you paid the price, but the notes are right. The tones are light, but the emotion is ripe. And a heavy distant cry. Heavy close-up, sigh. Thunder on 3. Lightning in 2. And humming on 1.
I remember Nick playing this to me one of the first times we hung out together in Bondi. I fell in love with the atmosphere. It sounded huge but internal. I closed my eyes and followed the melody, singing whatever came into my head.
Change my youth.
The whole EP represents a coming together of 2 artists, and through shared experiences, although not exactly the same, but something similar, we both went into those other dimensions and came out with melodies and pearls and ideas and feelings and emotions that needed and warranted to be expressed musically and artistically, visually and otherwise.
If I would change my nature, I would change my outlook, I would